Negative roots, which I've been telling you, you can't take the square root of a negative number, except now I'm going to tell you, yes, you can. Because the square root of -1 is my lovely little friend I. He's imaginary. I don't like what I just did to him. So the square root of -1 is I. So anytime you have a square root that's a negative, your answer is going to have an I in it. Now 14 is 2 times 7, right? I can't take anything out of 2 times 7 except it's negative. So I can take out an I. Under the root, as square root, he's I. Just square roots, not cube roots or anything like that. It's square roots. Yeah. Okay, square root of -1. What happened is this. You can't have a negative square root, right? Because if I take two positive numbers, I multiply them together, I get a positive number. If I take two negative, same thing, like -2 times -2, I get +4. So what's the square root of -4? There isn't one.
Why they didn't say no solution?
Well, because here's what happened is they did for a very long time. There's no solution, no solution, no solution, except they came to a point where they had to have a solution to keep going. Engineering, like really applied math, they came to a point where they had to be able to keep going. They couldn't just hit this negative square root and go, okay, no, done. So they decided that anytime you multiply a -1 times something, you make it negative, right? So they would take the -1 and say that the square root of -1 is I. And they invented the imaginary number system and complex numbers. I is imaginary. It doesn't exist. There's no real negative square roots. So he's our little imaginary friend.
How's it cube?
That we're going to go over those in just a minute. That comes in like 4 steps.
Okay.
So anytime you see a negative under a square root, you're immediately going to take out an I, whether you can take out anything else or not. With 14, I couldn't take out anything else, but I could take an I out. I could take I. Yes, I could take I out. -48. Okay, I know I'm going to have an I because it's negative. I'm going to look at 48 and see what else I can take out. Okay, so we're square roots, so I'm looking for pairs. So I have 2 pairs of 2's. So I can take out, there's that negative that's just hanging out outside, right? I can take out 1 2, I can take out a second 2. This negative inside tells me I can take out an I, and I have a 3 left. Right? That 3 that's just poor little left behind 3. So I get -4i root 3. 33 is 3 times 11. There's nothing from that, but I have a negative, so I can bring out an I, and it's 33. If I have a perfect square, square root of -4 is 2i. 2 is the square root of 4. I is the square root of negative, essentially. And he's not real, he's imaginary.